Bitcoin is helping the places in the world where water is scarcest to secure their water security profitability without jeopardizing their emission targets, something no other technology can currently do. Can Bitcoin mining help solve water scarcity and environmental sustainability issues? Hey y'all, for this week's read, I chose How Bitcoin Can Help Nations Out of Water Scarcity by Bitcoin ESG Analyst, Managing Partner at CH4 Capital, and author of the Bitcoin ESG Forecast, Daniel Batten. Water scarcity is critically important for humanity for several reasons. Besides being essential to sustain life, water is crucial for agriculture and food security. It's a key resource for many industries including manufacturing and energy production. A lack of clean water increases the risk of diseases such as cholera, typhoid, and other waterborne illnesses. It also complicates sanitation efforts, further elevating health risks. Water scarcity can lead to conflicts within and between communities or nations over water resources, threatening social and political stability. And inadequate water supplies can lead to overuse of existing water resources, which can degrade ecosystems, reduce biodiversity, and alter the natural balance. So how does Bitcoin, or more specifically, Bitcoin mining, fix this? Keep watching to see Daniel's insights in this week's read, How Bitcoin Can Help Nations Out of Water Scarcity. The Bitcoin uses fossil fuels argument has been increasingly breaking down in the face of new data from Bloomberg Intelligence, showing the network is in fact the most sustainable energy-backed industry on the planet, with 53% energy coming from sustainable sources. In response to this news, a new attack vector has emerged. Bitcoin uses too much water. Apparently, if Bitcoin uses fossil fuels as its energy source, it is bad. If it uses hydro, it is also bad. It's the same double bind that the 17th century witch hunters used to determine whether a woman was a witch. Throw her in the water. If she can swim, she's a witch. Execute her. If she drowns and cannot swim, that proves she's not a witch. It is, of course, a ridiculous argument that can be leveled against any user of electricity you feel like maligning. As for the method that DeVries, the study's author, uses, measuring water use per transaction, Cambridge has already debunked the use of energy per transaction, and by extension, energy resource on a per transaction basis as, quote, not a meaningful metric, unquote. That didn't stop a host of journalists picking up the study. As I sat through the symphony of off-tune journalism, it got me curious. What is the real story with Bitcoin and water? So I decided to do some research on the other side of the ledger. Could Bitcoin help water security? Where does actual water scarcity exist? First, let's understand which nations suffer the most from water scarcity. A quick Google search told me that 12 of 17 most water-stressed nations in the world live in the Middle East or North Africa. Intrigued, I inquired further as to how these countries countered this water scarcity. It turns out the situation is quite dire. 60% of these nations live under severe water stress. Scientists expect this to worsen as the climate warms. In the last 30 years, rainfall has dropped by 16.7%. Many of these nations now use more water than they receive in rainfall. Wealthier countries such as UAE use desalination to solve this issue. However, desalination is expensive and energy intensive. It also has a host of environmental issues, not least of which is that fact that in the UAE, 78% of the energy comes from fossil fuels, natural gas. According to the national news, desalination plants are vital if the world is to have enough water to drink. Some estimates suggest that by 2030 there will be a 40% gap between water supply and demand. There is an increasing reliance on desalination across the world, and already 53% of all desalination worldwide happens in the Middle East. Efforts are afoot to power desalination plants increasingly with renewable energy. However, such projects will take time. New technology will have to be deployed, and new solar capacity will have to be built. Dr. Mohammed Walik Shahzad, a senior lecturer at Northumbria University in the UK, who has developed a patented desalination system, confirms this, saying, "We're working to hybridize desalination systems with renewables, wind, wave, and solar. We have several prototypes in the lab," he said. These solar farms can be used to offer an alternative to burning natural gas to power desalination plants. Critically, the UAE plans a massive solar build-out in its vast sunny deserts. The country's biggest solar project will become one of the world's largest at 5 gigawatts by 2030. Jaron Mellerud, Luxor, comments that these solar installations will undoubtedly periodically generate vast amounts of excess electricity. How Bitcoin helps water scarcity. 1. Accelerate build-out of renewable-powered desalination. Soaking up and being a buyer for excess solar-powered electricity is one of the two areas where Bitcoin mining can help provide solutions to water scarcity. According to Mellerud, being location-agnostic and interruptible electricity consumers, Bitcoin miners can set up operations directly at these solar farms and offtake and monetize this otherwise wasted electricity. A recent study from Cornell University confirmed Bitcoin mining's ability to make solar operators more profitable, which in turn leads to faster scale-up of solar operations. By accelerating the build-out of new solar energy capacity, Bitcoin mining can help UAE to transition to renewably powered desalination, meaning that UAE can meet its water security goals without endangering its emission reduction goals. How Bitcoin mining helps water scarcity. 2. Increases efficiency of desalination. As reported by CNBC, desalination is highly energy intensive. Any efficiency gains in operating costs therefore means that water, which can be desalinated, for the same operating cost. This is why UAE water management, whether through desalination or underground aquifers, is on a constant vigil to increase efficiency of operations. This is where an exciting and pioneering Bitcoin mining project is already underway. Marathon Digital Holdings recently partnered with 02. Normally, heat is used directly for desalination, but 02 and Marathon realized that almost 100% of the energy used by Bitcoin mining rigs is transferred into heat energy. If that heat can be recycled, it can be reused. And that recycled heat is now being used for water desalination. The only difference is that in the meantime, the desalination facility is earning revenue from Bitcoin mining, meaning that their water per dollar ratio improves. More water can be desalinated for the same net cost, an incredible achievement. Marathon CEO Fred Thiel explains that for the water desalination facility, Bitcoin mining allows them to continue to run the energy generation profitably so that they can use the heat offtake to make desalinated water. Summary. The places in the world where water is the most scarce, becoming even scarcer, is the Middle East. For these nations, desalination is the ideal solution, which is why 53% of all desalination now occurs in the Middle East. However, desalination is carbon intensive and energy intensive. Bitcoin mining helps address both problems. Firstly, it helps the carbon intensity by making Middle East solar deployments more profitable by being a buyer for energy that otherwise would have been wasted. Secondly, it makes desalination plants more profitable by allowing them to generate Bitcoin and use the waste heat from ASICs for desalination, which means these plants can profitably desalinate more water. In short, far from being a source of concern to global water usage, Bitcoin is helping the places in the world where water is scarcest to secure their water security profitability without jeopardizing their emission targets, something no other technology can currently do. Hey y'all, if you're enjoying this content, make sure to like and subscribe. Consider sharing with your friends and family. And also make sure to leave a comment below. I love to hear what you think. Now on to my 2 cents. After reading that, honestly, how can anybody with an open mind not think of this as a good idea? Yeah, Bitcoin mining uses energy. It uses a lot of energy. But it's crucial to understand the context. That energy serves a vital purpose to the Bitcoin network. It secures the network, it validates transaction, and it ensures the scarcity of Bitcoin. But more to the point, Bitcoin mining often utilizes stranded or wasted energy. Consider the energy use of the traditional financial system, which includes the operation of banks, payment networks, and the production of physical money. Bitcoin mining's energy consumption is relatively modest in comparison. Instead of coercing people through regulations, subsidies, and other top-down authoritarian controls, why not just embrace technological innovation from the ground up? Could there be a more important aspect of life than water to allow the proliferation of the transformative power of Bitcoin to flourish? Time will tell. There are many control-hungry people that unfortunately have the ability to thwart progress, at least in the short term. As they say, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But remember, good ideas don't require force. Thank you, Daniel Batten, for writing this article.